Welcome back to another episode of What Are We Watching? Hello and welcome, friends and family and friends of the show.
Hey, it's Gallagher.
I hate that.
You didn't like that?
The wacky Keith. That's how you introduce yourself. I think the last one, 2 seconds, and you're like, it's wacky Keith.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I always forget. I don't really know. I'm not really in control of what I'm saying.
That's the spirit.
I'm just glad to be back at it.
Yeah, we're at Casa de Keith right now.
Oh, yeah, we chose to do my house this time because I have two dogs that are way louder than his one dog. And
so we thought that'd be cool.
Yeah, we thought it'd be fun to see if they will interrupt, which they probably will. They've already tried.
Yeah, they're both independently playing with their own treats or toys.
By playing, I mean they just maul plastic. And
I think I just watched Juno take a chunk out of her toy.
Yeah, I love it because they're not the biggest dogs, but they will ruin any tough chewer toy.
But they'll ruin anything.
Yeah, like you can give them BarkBox tough chewer, and they'll just fucking
go right through
ruin it.
So
yeah.
BarkBox, if you're listening, step your shit up.
I don't know. We haven't actually done BarkBox yet, but I assume that they'll ruin.
But now
us.
we're not after we just roasted them.
But I think we're actually sponsored. This episode is actually sponsored by Celsius. Clean energy. When you need 200 milligrams of caffeine at night.
When you need to fuel up to start digging. I don't know what for, but just in general.
Well, I thought
kept them all
I thought that was a
vague
bit
like that?
because I was actually digging in my backyard for the new deck.
Oh yeah, Keith he's redoing his deck, and then you told me you're like, yeah, I'm getting my deck redone, but I'm helping.
Yeah,
and I was like, I don't think that's how construction
when you're doing it on a budget. I
thought you were going to be in like your little Fisher Price, like workman's hard hat.
Oh,
with your little.
I said something earlier because Olivia kept coming out just to check on it. And she's like, wow, you're really doing a lot of work here. And I guess she's not used to me doing a lot of work. And I was like, yeah, you put me around a bunch of other dudes that are doing hard work. I'm gonna try to do my best.
I'm gonna really.
And then I was like, don't worry, they just gave me like the stuff that like if your wife decided to help build a deck and had no prior construction experience.
Yeah,
these are the jobs she would do. I mean, I was just obviously joking. She's like, well, I'm not your wife yet, so. It's not funny to me. And I was like, okay, well.
So, Olivia, if you're out there. This is, I'm so sorry.
But yeah, no, I basically just did a lot of grunt work and helpful work to get them going.
Sorry.
Yeah, my dogs will cough and sneeze and snort. They're disgusting.
Just completely threw me off.
They're disgusting.
What one was that? Juno?
That was Juno.
Just went... background.
Yeah,
So we're just gonna be we just do this is all one take, so we're not cutting any of this.
They were vile, honestly. I was just telling you how they wake us up in the morning. One starts licking themselves, the other one starts coughing and jingling their tags, and then the cat just runs around with a toy. It's a toy on a stick.
Yeah.
So the stick just drags, slamming off the walls. You just hear, and then you just hear, and one of us will just say, "Shut up." Like if the sun's just coming up, we're like, oh my god, guys! They have like a working man alarm clock, so they wake up before us. Oh my god, it's awful.
It sounds like a real hoot and a half.
Yeah.
So, what movie are we doing today? Do you want to get into it or?
Yeah, we're doing this little flick called Big Trouble in Little China.
I don't know why I thought we were going to say it at the same time.
Well, I also thought we were going to say, what are we watching at the same time? I literally stare at you.
Yeah, you were gearing up. I was like, we've never done this
Every
before.
episode so far, I stare at you. I'm like, you're like, welcome to the next episode of. And I'm like.
And you're like,
oh, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. And I never say it.
You look like a kid who thinks he's going to be picked next in gym class. But yeah, we're doing, as Keith said, Big Trouble in Little China.
And so you were, before we even get into this, you were saying that every time you watch it, you appreciate it even more than
just
you already
like a
did.
scooch more. Like if it was out of like 2,000 notches on a list of like, stay with me, like 0 notches is bad. And 2,000 is like incredible. I think I watched it. It lands at like 113 or 1,000.
I was like, wow, you really don't like this.
It's like
you
around
really low panned it.
I hate that.
Yeah, me
it was
too.
at like 1,300, and it knocks up like two pegs every time I watch it.
Is that each peg's 100? I'm assuming.
No, each peg is one.
One? So 1,302 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, I've seen it how many times? So.
Oh, every time you watch it, it goes up from that.
2.
Okay.
I wanted to be generous with it.
Okay. That's really confusing.
It would have been so much easier if I just said, like, I liked it.
Yeah. I thought that's what we were going with. I said you like it a little more each time. And
Yeah.
then you said, well, let
and
me
then
break
I made
it down
weird
for
with
you.
my whole notch.
Yeah. So where would you put Escape from New York?
Oh, man. On a first watch, or where is it currently ranked?
I would say
Do we want to use
realistically,
like
not idealistically, realistically.
Realistically?
Yeah.
First watch through?
I don't care.
14.5.
Wait, is that 14,500 or is that 14.5?
No, yeah, 14. Like, if you paid $2,000, hold on.
What the hell, man? What is happening?
I
feel like I'm
Keith,
grilling you. Is this like
Keith dosed me when we were out at dinner together?
Yeah, you bought me dinner, and I said,
yeah. And he's like,
it's on him. Give him a little something extra.
He's like, I'm gonna pay this guy back, and then he slipped something into my diet soda.
Wait, okay, so is it higher or lower than that? That's all I was asking.
Oh, slightly higher.
You think it's higher than this?
Slightly higher, because the entry for Escape from New York is a lot lower. You have to watch Big Trouble like 4 or 5 times to like really appreciate the plot. Number one, which we're gonna get into, is fucking unreal.
Yeah.
I just think like Escape from New York, it's very straightforward. I mean, we're gonna cover it, but it's like you gotta escape from New York.
To me, I think this smokes Escape.
Does it really?
Oh yeah, Escape. I think in my head is always going to be way better than it actually is.
Who's a better Kurt Russell character, Jack or Snake?
See, that I don't know. I can't
tough.
answer because Snake
is genuinely badass, and Jack is just like, all right, where is everyone?
Okay, so
yeah, I guess we're talking about the movie already now.
Yeah,
right?
so Snake is a guy that does construction.
Yeah,
and Jack Burton is the guy that has a normal desk job like us, but
yeah,
does construction once a year, but has work boots.
Big time. He's the guy that you hire to redo your kitchen, and then you ask him questions. Be like, "Oh yeah, that's good that you're doing it that way."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, why didn't you fucking do it yourself?" Anyway, so yes, Big Trouble in Little China. This was released in 1986. It was 99 minutes is the runtime. I forget how short this movie is every time I watch. It's like you can blow through it, hour and a half, no problem.
Yeah.
The budget for this, which I'm seeing like conflicting arguments. It was around 25 million, and it only made 11 million.
Yeah. And
which
usually movies we cover have like a positive, just a general.
I think this is the first one that
tanked.
That tanked, yeah.
Because we were talking about it. What was the stats on the thing? Because the thing wasn't. They didn't do great, but they broke even at least, right?
Yeah, I thought the thing they did break even.
Let's check it. It was just funny because we already actually probably did this. Yeah. Oh no, they made money.
How much
Budget
did that
was
one
15, and they made almost 20.
So this is another Carpenter movie. This was right before Big Escape from New York.
No, Escape is way before.
Escape was
81.
What movie was this for?
This is right before Prince of Darkness, and then They Live. Prince of Darkness was 87, They Live is 88.
Okay. So yeah, this was like right in the heyday of both Kurt Russell and Carpenter. Yeah. I would say. Do you want to go over the cast?
Yeah. So you have Jack Burton played by Kurt Russell. That's number one. That's really your biggest. But I will say some of the supporting cast is epic.
Yeah. Oh, I think it. Well, Dennis Dunn, which we're gonna. I mean, I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead.
I mean, I think there's a theory that like he was arguably the main character. Wang, if for those of you that have seen the movie,
yeah,
he's arguably the main character. He knows what's going on the whole plot. Jack, Kurt Russell, is basically like, I like to think of his character as like you're supposed to relate to him because he has no idea what the fuck is going on, and like neither do you. But Wang's like, oh, all right, let me help you through this. Like he's like really leading through the plot.
No, that makes sense. Because he knows about the sorcery.
Yeah, because he's like, what the heck are you talking about, Wang? And he's like, it's Chinese like folk magic, and he's like, okay.
And he knows martial arts.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Jack
got the
doesn't.
lowdown. Not one bit.
He can handle weapons.
Yeah, Juno's about to give her 2 cents. She just wandered over to talk about.
Can you hear
Kurt
that?
Russell.
Is she picking up too loud?
Oh,
Is
I
she
don't
all right?
know.
She pawing around.
I think she might be a little.
She'll go drink some water. This will be the loudest water drinking ever here.
This will be. No, but yeah, I think she's good. So then, who else do we have?
So Kim Cattrall plays Gracie Law,
Who's a lawyer, which pisses me off. Their last name is Law. Continue.
Yeah, it's great though.
That sucks.
It's
so
awesome.
Bad.
And she's one half of the Green Eye Bandits.
Yeah.
And then Susie Pie, I think I'm saying her last name right. She plays Miao Yin, who's the other Green Eyed. She's the Green Eyed Chinese character, and then Gracie Law is the Green Eyed American character.
Yeah.
But Susie Pie actually, I was like, oh man, like because the first time you see her eyes, I was like in a trance. I was like,
oh yeah. Well, you're
why
supposed
does
to be
she
like
look
drawn
like this?
to
Like,
the.
I'm like
to the green eyes.
I was like, I would do her laundry for her.
Oh, hi Juno. Is that a toy?
So I figured that she was in. Thank God, Juno, you're ruining this. I figured she was in other stuff. She was supposed to be in First Blood, but it wasn't used. And then she was actually just she's actually Penthouse Pet of the Month, and she was in Playboy.
And that's how you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's how I. No, I
was like, and that was your introduction to
No,
her.
I wasn't alive in 1981 or 82.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know that, but I looked it up because I was like, she has to be in other stuff. Like I gotta watch whatever else she's in.
And it took.
I thought it was like a Marissa Tomei kind of thing. I was like, oh my God, I gotta watch everything she's in.
Yeah, it was.
I'm obsessed.
Shout out to Marissa Tomei.
Oh, she's just great. She's like wholesome. I don't know what it is about her. She's just like, I'll watch anything she's in because I'm like, she's one of the best.
She's great in this movie too. I was
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei was great in this movie.
Yeah, Susie. I'm gonna say Pie. P-A-I. I'm going with that.
I think you should. Who else do we have? Dennis Dunn as Wang.
And then you got James Hong as Lopan,
David Lopan.
One of the best characters, I think, in any movie. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. You keep talking. I'm going to remove this dog toy from here. We're not going to cut, though, because that's not what we do here.
No, it's all one take.
We're just going to send Juno to her bed. Come on, let's go to her bed.
Great. So we have James Hong as David Lopan. He's like the main bad guy. We have Victor Wong, who plays an awesome character as Egg. Who else do we have? We have Kate Burton, which I think is kind of funny that it's Kurt Russell plays Jack Burton. She plays Margot, who's she's a reporter. And I'm trying to look through the list here. I think that really covers everyone.
Yeah. And then you have, I don't think you really have to name them, but Thunder, Rain, and Lightning.
Yeah,
they're
Thunder,
awesome.
Rain, and Lightning.
God, they're so awesome.
Their hats are unreal. So Peter Kwong is Rain, James Pax is Lightning, and who did I miss? Carter Wong is Thunder. So there's basically, as we get into the plot, there's these, like, they call them the three storms. They're just like these ancient elemental martial arts like beings, I guess. Like, I think they're kind of billed as like gods of some sort, but they are like hands down probably the coolest part of this movie.
Yeah.
So
and
did you have anything else you wanted to any of them?
Like they're, oh man, I was gonna look it up and I forgot. I'll come back to it if I remember. Oh man,
Who's the goose?
I had this note. It's the Hatchet. The one Hatchet guy looks so familiar. I thought he was in something else.
The Hatchet guy.
Yeah,
is he one of the storms?
No, he's one of the Wing Kong. He's just one of the guys that just when they have that showdown, he has the one. Meat Cleaver, not a Hatchet.
Oh, the meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these guys, as I was looking up like who the cast was, a lot of these guys are like veterans of kung fu movies. Like Carpenter, he did his homework when it came to like the casting for this. Like it's any basically minor character throughout this has a long career of like 60s and 70s kung fu movies as either extras or like main parts and stuff like that. And I just thought that was like super cool that he did that. Anyway, do you want to get into the plot?
Oh yeah.
Are you ready to go? So this one we're going to do a little different.
Oh wait, can I just say the one thing I wanted to say when I took Juno
God.
over,
Yeah, no, it's fine.
James Hong. If anyone has seen the Seinfeld episode, the Chinese restaurant, he's the host.
Lo Pan is who you're talking about, right?
Yeah. I was trying to figure out because he's in a lot of things, but he's in a lot of things that I don't really recognize or I haven't seen.
Yeah,
like I haven't seen Kung Fu Panda. Somehow.
He plays Poe's dad, Jack Black's dad, in Kung Fu Panda.
But he's the
voice of him. Anyway,
he's the host when Seinfeld and his crew is waiting for the restaurant.
Yeah. His voice is wild.
And just the end of the episode is after they walk out. He's like, Seinfeld Party of 5 or Seinfeld Party of 4.
Yeah, he's pretty great in this movie. So this one we're gonna do a little different. A lot of them we kind of like interject throughout as we find funny things. This one I want to blow through the plot and then start talking about things because even if you watch the movie and pay attention to the plot, it's confusing. So we figured we don't want to break up the little spiel. So, Keith, do you want me to walk through this one?
Yeah, you can start it.
So
I will say I probably will interject when I want to.
Oh, please do.
So, stuff that.
So, great. So the movie opens up with a truck driver, Jack Burton. He's he's a semi truck driver, and I think it's called the Pork Chop Express.
That is correct.
So he's driving. He's just kind of talking into the CB radio. He's just a maniac. So all the credits are coming up, and you just kind of get a sense that this dude has like a lot of opinions about things. He's pretty funny. So it's raining. He pulls into this like little, I guess it was like a market of some sort, and he starts gambling. It's like a rainy night, so he's dropping off a delivery, and then you see him. He starts to gamble. So it's all night. Again, this is all while the credits are going, and then you're introduced to his friend Wang Chi. And basically, like they're the last two people gambling with each other, and it finds out that they've known each other for quite some time, that they are buddies. Jack has like cleaned house on Wang Chi and is basically wants him to pay up. So he finds out that Wang does not have any of the money on him, and he suggests that like, oh, let me go get it from my truck. Like I'll be fine. Like, and then we can pay you off. To where Jack is like, yeah, no shot. Like, I'm just going to drive with you wherever you need to go. And he finds out that where his friend Wang needed to go was to the airport to pick up his fiance, who is basically coming from China, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that is introduced very early into this movie. So you kind of establish that they've been friends for a while, and they have this beginning of a plot to go to the airport. So they're at the airport. They're waiting for... They're basically waiting for his fiance. Her name's Miao, right?
Miao Yin, yeah.
Miao Yin. So they're waiting for Wang's fiance, Miao Yin. And in the drive over, he mentions that she has green eyes, which is like pretty rare. That's a big theme throughout this movie is like the rareness of green eyes. So she steps off the train or off of out of the terminal, and they are attacked by a Chinese American street gang called the Lords of Death. So they basically are trying to kidnap. The names for these things are awesome. They're so cheesy. And they basically try and kidnap Miao Yin.
They're all wearing the most wild sunglasses.
Oh, and it's not sunny, and it's just incredible.
So good. The one is just like all white, and it's just like two little lines for the eyes. Yeah. I was dying.
So they try and kidnap. They actually try and kidnap her and another girl.
Right.
Yeah. And they end up getting away. And Jack, he like basically goes up and like instantly is like, all right, buddy, like if you have a problem, step up. And they instantly just like kick his ass. Like
he pulls out weapons. He's like, where did you get those?
Oh yeah, he's like, where'd you get those?
And then he gets leg sweep like Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah, and he instantly is like, all right, please stop.
Okay, I give up.
He's like, all right. So they, I guess they do kidnap. Oh, they kidnap.
They kidnap Miao Yin. They kidnap.
They kidnap Miao Yin. And this is where you actually also meet another character, Gracie Law, who's basically friends with Miao Yin. They kidnap Miao Yin. They all leave together, and they're basically trying to track down this Lords of Death, like street gang. Juno, this is your favorite part. So they try and track down these Lords of Death to Chinatown, and they basically are driving this huge fucking like semi truck into downtown. It's Chicago where they are. Or no, Chicago?
No,
Where
they're
filming
in
it?
China. They're in Chinatown in San Francisco.
San Francisco. So they're driving down Chinatown in San Francisco in the Pork Chop Express, which is like his huge ass truck. And then they end up in a funeral procession.
Oh man!
Like if it sounds like we don't know what we're saying, I promise you that this is the plot. It doesn't make any sense. So they're basically just driving down this little street trying to find them, and then they're in a funeral procession, and then a battle breaks out between the Chang Sing and the Wing Kong, who are basically two ancient Chinese warrior societies. So like they're driving down, and I believe the funeral is for the Chang Sing.
Yeah.
And Wang goes, "No, these are the good guys. Like, don't be like." Jack has a wild. They pull. It is very. There's a casket being carried. He goes, "What is this? A parade?" And they pull down the street, and Wang insists, like, "No, these are good guys. Like, they're. It's just like a funeral procession." And then they're kind of attacked by the Wing Kong. So this big battle is ensuing. It's kind of getting really crazy. At this point, they just it's a lot of gunfire, right? They all just start like shooting each other.
Well, yeah. So the Wing Kong show up with like semi-automatic, just all sorts of crazy weapons. So then there's a shootout, and that seems to be like the first wave. Like they're shooting each other, and then all of a sudden they go to hand combat.
Yeah, and it just gets
and they just started beating the shit out of each other with weapons.
Yeah.
And it's honestly one of the coolest like
it is pretty like
fight scenes.
I think this is one of the first scenes where it's kind of a theme throughout the rest of it that like Jack just kind of finds himself accidentally in these places. Like they just kind of stumble into all these random ass scenarios. But anyway, so they're in the middle of this big fight. Kind of seems like it's not going to end when out of nowhere this is where you're introduced to those characters I said earlier, the three storms. So out of nowhere, these like ancient warriors appear. We have thunder, rain, and lightning. So they all have basically like, I guess, what would you call them? Like superpowers?
Yeah, I mean, each one has their element.
Has their element. So you're introduced to thunder and rain, and then like in that super badass scene, like a bolt of lightning comes down, and lightning is like holding on to it, lowering himself down. It's just like everything 80s that you can imagine. John Carpenter was like, "Oh yeah, we're obviously going to do that."
He's like
movie.
Weapons, martial arts. A main character has no idea what's going on and fumbles his way through.
Kurt Russell,
green-eyed babes. We got it all, dude.
Madone.
So
they basically show up, and then these three storms are basically blowing through the Chang Sing. Jack attempts to do something. He ends up just trying to gun his way through the crowd, but he ends up running over. This is where you're first introduced to David Lopan. It's basically like this giant mystical guy in the street.
With a confusing height, because sometimes he's 12 feet tall and someone says he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah, they incorrectly say what his height is throughout this entire movie.
Yeah.
And you can't follow it.
It doesn't, and I don't think it matters.
No, it doesn't matter. So that he appears, Jack is still just like charging forward, and then Lopan essentially just like disappears or appears like behind the truck. So this is the first time he basically like they drive through him.
Yeah.
And so Jack is very horrified at this point. He gets out of his truck to see like this guy Lopan seems to be directing the three storms. It's almost like he like kind of commanded them. So Jack is terrified. He thought he like killed someone. So he gets out of his truck. He finds out that Lopan is fine, and he has this like weird kind of like glow around him. And it's later revealed that it's some kind of like ancient magic. I'm trying to just like keep all of this shit straight. So he ends up going down. They try to escape because the Wang is like, all right, we got to get the hell out of here. Jack is, I guess, blinded. I don't know what you would call it.
He gets blinded by the light, literally. Cause he's
blinded by the light.
He shoots fire out of his eyes, or light out of his eyes and mouth.
Lopan shoots, and like blinds Jack, but like only for a second. And then he's guided down an alley so that like Wang and Jack can escape. And that's where he splashes like a dirty puddle in his eyes.
Dude, yes.
Yeah, it's. Did you want to talk about it?
It's just crazy. It's literally a city puddle, and he's like, oh, I'm blinded, and he splashes his
And he's like,
dirty
here,
water.
this will help.
And then immediately they turn a corner, and then they're in Wing Kong territory.
Yeah,
by themselves with no truck. And
yeah,
like,
they steal Jack's truck too. That's a big theme throughout this one as well, or throughout this movie as well.
Yeah, so they have to just keep running.
Yeah, so they go back. Wang also owns a restaurant, just as like a little fun fact in this movie. So Wang takes Jack back to his restaurant. They meet Gracie there, Gracie Law, and her journalist friend Margot, who you're introduced to. So this is kind of like a meeting of the minds. This little this restaurant, and then we also see Wang's friend Eddie Lee, and a magician is what he's described as, but Egg Shen. Which we're skipping over. There was a scene, the very beginning when the credits are going. He is a what is it? He's a tour bus.
Yeah,
operator.
Egg Foo Young Tours.
Yeah, and he's just like he's like just taking people around Chinatown.
Yeah.
But he's you find out that he's kind of like a local authority on mysticism, and magic, and specifically Lo Pan. So he kind of filled Jack in with what the hell just happened, because he's like, someone was in the span of 10 minutes of movie, someone was kidnapped, we saw a street brawl, we killed a guy, I was blinded and then cured with dirty puddle water, and we saw some ancient magic happen. Like, what the fuck is happening? And throughout this whole exchange, he's just like, I just want my goddamn truck back, because they stole it. So they fill Jack in on like the knowledge and sorcery behind basically that in this movie that the Chinese brought to America.
Yeah, it's a sorcery.
And they're kind of walking him through no, this has kind of been around. You grow up hearing these stories in Chinese culture, told these stories about magic and sorcerers and Lo Pan and stuff like that. So now they're trying to figure out how they can get back Wang's fiance. So they devise a plan. There's it ends up being a brothel is what it is, but it's basically a local hangout for the gang that kidnapped her. So they figured let's start there.
So he puts on his glasses.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna. He's basically like, yeah, I'm just gonna act stupid.
Yeah, he's basically just wants to go in acting as a patron.
And he's like
to see.
And he goes,
I have his name written down because this made me laugh so hard. Just every single time. Oh, of course I can't find it. Henry Swanson is the guy's name, and he has a line, and they're like, "What can we do for you?" And he says, "Henry Swanson's my name, and excitement's my game."
He's obviously looking for a girl, and obviously he's gonna sound dumb. He's tries to dumb himself up.
Yeah,
and it's like, "Do you have any with green eyes?"
He's like, "I've been telling you, I'm fancying someone with green eyes." Just totally. And then the fun. I know we said we weren't going to talk about quotes, but here we are. And then she's like, "Is that going to be charge or cash?" And he goes, "Well, you can't write it, or you can't." What does he say? He's like, "Well, you can't declare it, so I guess we're going to have to go cash." So just oh, he says it's not deductible. It's so dumb.
Oh, and the restaurant name is the Dragon of the Black Pool. That's
Dragon of the Black Pool.
Because he has Wang has the jacket. He has the baseball jacket with on the back. I was like, that is such a cool jacket.
It is.
Anyways, back to
the plot. Back to our regularly scheduled program. So they're still trying to infiltrate this brothel where they suspect that Wang's fiance is being held. And from here, they basically I think through his questioning, they kind of wise up and they're like, "Oh shit, I think this guy is I think he knows a little bit." So they are. I think he's getting ready to be led back, and then the three Storms, who kidnapped Miao Yin, basically they kidnapped Miao Yin from the brothel where she actually is being held, and they take her to Lo Pan. So they think they're going to get her, and then the Storms basically break in and
they rip the roof off, right?
They rip the roof clean off the brothel. So now there's more confusion into the whole mix. So from here, now Jack and Wang basically have to go and find out where Lo Pan is now, because he's now has them. I think they do. It was a business that he used or something that Lo Pan used. You know what I'm talking about?
Say it again.
Like they end up going to that business. Oh, it's like Lopan's business, basically. So kind of as a side, people think Lopan is like a mysterious like businessman. So they go to one of his business, and they impersonate telephone repairmen to gain access. They're basically just like in jumpsuits, and they're both holding a landline that isn't plugged in.
They just walk by. I don't remember what they say, but they basically just bypass security.
He's like, "Oh yeah, the plug's where they used to be. All right, we'll check it out." And he just like walks by.
And as they're walking by, the cameras and stuff, they're just talking like they would be like, "Oh yeah, I don't remember where this equipment is," or whatever they're saying.
The cheesiest thing
it's just so
ever.
funny.
It is pretty great.
But yeah, so David Lopan, the actual human, is also like a huge like monopoly business guy in Chinatown.
Yeah, I forget
Lopan
that is true.
as
the mysterious figure,
as a spiritual sorcerer
thing, which you basically the next scene is so they end up getting caught. So they're attacked by Rain. So the one and is this the one? No, there's one of them that's just breathing a lot.
He's hulking up, right? That's Thunder. That's Thunder. That's my favorite one. He's always doing the crab pose, like he's always flexing,
and he's like beefing up.
Yeah.
So they're intercepted by Rain, and they end up being tied up and beaten by Thunder. So again, this is kind of like a theme of all of these storms stay very close to Lopan. So they're tied up and beaten by Thunder. They strap them into like wheelchairs, and then they're in a main. It ends up being like a ceremony room. Yeah,
like why do they have wheels? I don't understand.
I don't know, but I will say I think this is the scene where like you see the storms not in their like battle gear, but they're just in like suits and stuff like that. And it was very like that was like they could have been in Kill Bill in those suits, like 1000%. They just looked so cool. I was all about it. So they end up basically having a sit down with David Lopan, who he's this crippled old man. And there's just like the dialogue is unreal and I'm coming back to the quotes.
That's fine.
Because we can't, there's just like, there's too many.
And he's actually, I actually read that, have you ever seen the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
It's been a very long time.
But you've seen it.
Yeah.
So you know Master Splinter looks like the
rat. Yeah.
I heard that Lopan is in his human form is actually the basis for what Splinter looks like. That's not true.
He looks rough,
but he looks terrible, and he looks like a human. He looks like a human rat, a human shriveled rat left out in the sun to burn.
He really does. So they're basically just saying like, all right, dude, like, where's Lopan? And he's like, I'm Lopan. And he's like,
God, but the
right,
voice
buddy.
is fucking so
I
unreal.
can't do it. I can't do it with the voice justice. You'll just have to watch the movie. So he basically tells Jack, or Wang ends up telling Jack, that Lopan needs a green-eyed girl to break like this ancient curse. And he intends to sacrifice Miao Yin. So it's basically like he needs to marry a girl with green eyes to break a curse, and then to like appease I think it's ended up like a god or something like that.
Yeah, so he has to marry it. He has to
marry a girl with green eyes
to appease the god,
and then kill
sacrifice
her
it to
as
like
an offering to the emperor.
Yeah, it's like a really confusing and probably overly complicated situation that the first time through you're like, what happened?
You're like, what's up? That's why it only goes up 2 notches on
like,
my 2000.
That's why they did that.
On my 2000 notch.
So he was dead the whole time.
He was dead the whole time, except he wasn't. Well, he was a spirit. Is what you find out.
Actually, no, he was a shriveled rat human the whole time. Weird wispy facial hair.
So you find out that David Lopan, the wrinkly old man, is the human form of Lopan, like the mystical ancient sorcerer. So I think we made it through. Okay. So so that's his way to permanently break the curse, is it needs to be someone with green eyes. So that's why she was like kidnapped. You kind of find out that the gang is working with the Storms, who's working for Lopan.
Yeah. It's really, honestly,
for the 3 listeners that are
there's a hierarchy to this shit.
Yeah, it is bananas. So where are we? I'm lost. Jack and Wang's friends like separately while they're talking to them, they try and like go into Lopan's business. They're like, all right, well, fuck it, we have to follow them in now. And they end up getting a tour, which I thought was funny. Like it's one of the Storms dressed up in like their normal clothes, and they're like, oh, come this way, or this, let me tell you about our business. And then they like gas them in the elevator that they're in, and that and then they all end up getting captured. So then they basically, this scene, all of them are captured. They, I guess, trick Thunder. So Jack, Wang, and Eddie escape. They're keeping the women in like separate cells, which I think it was because of like the whole brothel thing. Like there's like trafficking.
It's really confusing though, because they're kept in their different cells, but then that little jail scenario is all run by the women with knives.
Yeah.
Which honestly makes for one of the funniest fight scenes of all time.
Yeah. Just, officially.
It kills me because they go in, they bust in there to try to break them out. Okay, well, I think I'm jumping ahead actually.
No, I think we
didn't talk about how he's in the wheelchair and he ditches the wheelchair down the well.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, that's when they escape. Well, that's when they like trick Thunder. That's basically
right.
when they escape.
Trick him.
So when they
and
escape,
he does the crab mode.
Yeah, they trick one of the Storms, and Jack. I'm trying to think like what the chain of events. He's in the wheelchair, and he basically like when he's getting free, they push. The wheelchair is like rolling backwards down a very long hallway, and there's a well at the bottom.
Yeah, it's like a slope that's going straight down to this well that seems to fall into the pit of death.
Yeah, so that happened.
But it's like a very confusing but awesome action sequence.
Yeah,
where he breaks out of it and he basically jumps forward, and the wheelchair just crashes to a burning desire.
He grabs the wheels.
Oh, that's right.
As he's like leaned really far back, and he's like, "No, we're good."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh,"
and he's like, "Yeah,
that's all you got?
Let me just jump out of this real quick."
So then they go to free the women out of the cages, and they have to fight the guards who are all women.
Yeah,
but it's like they're taking like 10 or 15 shots with like some sort of weapon, and then they just defeat each one with a single punch.
Yeah,
every time. And I don't know why the first
very
time it happens
funny.
is funny, but the second and third and
you're like,
fourth,
this is a lot.
It's like boom, 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 and then it's just like, all right, and then one strike, and they're just like incapacitated. And it just destroyed.
Oh yeah, it's the plot. It's again, it just adds to the very, very strange plot that we are trying to bang ourselves through. Anyway, so they try and capture the women. They end up breaking them out, and then like halfway through a movie, another monster, is introduced.
Oh my God.
It's like it's described as an orangutan-like wild man.
But it reminds me of, you took Harry and the Hendersons, the unmasked predator as the face, and Chewbacca.
Yeah.
And you put that into and you just fucked it up more. That's what that
and then you brought it down like 5 notches.
Like,
so yeah, they're all like running through. It's like a sewer vent, like a sewer basically. There's a whole big escape scene.
Oh my God, the sewer scene's so fucking funny.
Yeah, there's so many great Jack lines along the way, which all the parts that we're skipping over, it's just Jack saying wild shit the whole time. Like,
so I was wrong in saying that he basically fumbles every combat, because at one point he has like a SMG and he blows someone away.
Oh yeah, and he's like, "Is that your first time wasting someone?"
Yeah,
and he's like, "No."
So he accidentally kills someone once.
Yeah,
but every other time he's either late to the party or he fucks up,
or he fumbles the bag.
Yeah, he has but he has that knife that he's brandishing the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, I'm talking about the fucking knife. That thing is coming
I figured
back. So they regroup. Wang and Jack regroup. They have everyone, well, except except Gracie, who was kidnapped by the fucked up Harry,
which is
and
hilarious
guy.
They're walking by this like portrait, the eyes change to red, and then all of a sudden it just opens up and she's like, "Oh, what's in here?" And then he just grabs
she's
her.
like, "What's
Gracie? Come on,
like,
dude." Gracie.
That's so dumb. So this orangutan thing captures Gracie Law, and then Lopan notes that she also has green eyes, and basically says like, "All right, I needed to marry one, and I needed to kill one, and I needed to." You know,
I get what you're saying.
So stupid. So he decides that he's gonna sacrifice. That's So he decides he's going to sacrifice Gracie and make Miao Yin his wife. So they all regroup. Wang and Jack regroup with Chang Sing and Egg. And basically are like, we need to get a plan together. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? So I think at this point is where, like, Egg, he's, like, throughout this plot, he's kind of, like, sprinkling in the fact that he is, like, been fighting Lo Pan for, like, years and years and years and years. Which, like, I don't know if they ever talk. Is Egg, like, also an immortal thing?
He's a sorcerer.
He's just a sorcerer. So he must just know.
Yeah,
Lo
he
Pan.
can do magic for sure.
Okay. So they return back to they regroup with everyone. They go to like Egg's. He has like this potion room.
Oh my
this
God.
Shop, I guess. And he starts like making potions and like they're trying to gear up. And he has a great he says it later. Do you know the potion line?
What he said? He says
he's like, "What is that?
Is that
a potion?" Egg's like, "Yep."
He's like, "Am I gonna drink that?"
Yep.
I forget. He sounds.
Yeah,
crazy.
he says,
"Fuck, I forget." We both fucked that up, but
yeah, we really
it's
did.
so good because
sucked. I think I'm trying to remember what it was. He says, "What's that? A potion?" I thought so. Should we drink it? I thought so. After Egg saying, yeah.
Good. Thought so.
Good. Thought so. So they're gearing back up. And then you realize that like Egg had an entrance in his shop to like the depths of hell the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about. They just kind of breezed over that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. He's just like, oh yeah, you want to go to Lo Pan? Like it's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot.
There's a lot going on.
The whole final sequence gets really confusing to me. They like blow certain stuff up. They're like going through certain entrances, and I'm just like,
I'm like, I'm definitely drunk, but
yeah, that's like a mystical sequence of just fucking
of nonsense,
flashing lights and explosions
smoke
and
mirrors.
fighting. I was like, what the hell is happening?
So they enter a cavern is I think the best way to describe it, and they go back to Lo Pan's headquarters. So they all have this potion. They interrupt. So they're kind of separately. The wedding ceremony has started. It's the trial of the burning blade.
Oh, dude, which is awesome.
Or the ceremony of the burning blade. Which
Thunder
is
has like a 5-minute
wild.
martial arts sequence,
and it's like I feel like it's similar to like when a kid does karate at like the talent show.
Everybody's like, wow.
Everyone's like, oh,
he's still going.
And he's
still
like,
going.
just like,
yeah. Oh, he's still going. Oh, no.
He's still.
His kata keeps going. It's a long one. He'll be doing this for a while.
It's most of
our
the
Johnny
movie.
is very impressive. We know.
Yeah, he's got just veins busting out of his forehead, but it's so just bizarre. So they interrupt the wedding and they start fighting. Essentially, in this big battle sequence, which is like the most 80s battle sequence I've ever seen in my entire life, like the very final one.
Yeah, it is awesome.
There's like a big skull that has like neon lights around it.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. When they get to that part, I have no idea.
I don't know how they get there. Jack shoots the rocks above his head and knocks himself out 2 seconds into the fight.
Blunders that, so he's out for most of it.
Yeah. After they like slam Egg's potions,
Wang
and he's
Chi
like,
is-
"I feel good."
First of all,
Wang
Wang
goes in sicko mode.
He's been decimating anyone that's crossed him the entire, and he's so low key about it. He's just like never.
That's
breathes out.
why he's the main character.
Okay,
I'm telling you.
That makes a lot of sense.
I'm telling you, Jack is
I'll
just
take it.
like, all right. He's got the spirit.
Yeah,
But
he's
doesn't have the
got the
skill.
heart.
It's not good. So Wang kills Rain in a duel, which I don't know. They were shooting guns at him at the beginning, and he didn't die, but a sword got him.
And then Jack stabs someone with that knife. He like pulls him onto the knife.
Yeah,
with
it's
his
like
feet.
this. It's like a guy in like really heavy suit of armor.
It's really confusing. The
He
sequence.
stabs some guy, and then he's trapped after he knocked himself out. He's got 1 kill under his belt, and he's trapped again.
He's got his feet up under the.
It is funny. They keep flashing back to him, like struggling, trying to get this like body off him, which I thought was really good. It's so stupid. And so Jack and Gracie, after this big battle sequence, try and chase Lo Pan, who he's basically regained his I guess what you would call him, his like mystical form, his like powerful form, because the wedding ceremony went through.
Because they both put their hands on the burning blades, and
then they changed the light bulb, and then
they just ascended into
I
heaven.
don't and he's like, oh, nice, they passed.
Oh, that's another weird thing is they keep going back to Miao Yin's in there. That weird like heaven scene where she's just laying in a bed and he's
like trying to touch her.
Yeah,
it's not weird.
Bizarre. It's not weird. No, it's weird.
That's very
weird.
strange. Anywho, so Lopan is like in his, I'm going to call it his final form after he consumes, he ends up like drinking a little bit of Miao Yin's blood. Wang joins the squad, and Lopan tries to kill Jack with a throwing knife. He catches it and then throws it right back at him and just like domes him right in the head.
So what's cool about that is he throws it first and you're like, oh, he's had this fucking knife the whole movie.
That knife the
and
whole time.
And he misses. He hits the gong and you're like, oh, he's an idiot. But you realize he did that on purpose.
Yeah. So this is why we wanted to go through the plot first, because there's a lot of like things that tie together. There's so many fucking good quotes in this movie. So he kills Lopan with a knife to the head. I think at this point, Thunder, who was fighting Wang, reappears, and he basically is super mad that Lopan is dead. This is when he does his final like,
oh my god, he flexes
swells
so
up.
hard. Yeah, he starts swelling like
and
a cabbage patch or
when
garbage pail kid.
when he swells up, he just blows up.
Yeah,
and
I love they cut to his feet. His feet are just explode out of his shoes.
Out of his shoe, yeah.
And all of his appendages are just swelling and swelling until he just fucking bursts.
And then he's just
so
done.
Funny.
So they're basically trying to escape now and trying to pick off the rest of the storms. So Jack, Wang, Gracie, and Miao Yin are cornered by lightning, like they're running out, and lightning appears. He ends up going all sorts of crazy, blowing up the ceiling and stuff. So things are falling. He opens up a giant hole that they end up like Egg lifts them out of it.
They all lift out, and then Jack just jumps out of it. It's literally like 12 feet.
It's a 94 foot.
He's like, oh, I have no athletic ability.
And
watch
he's like,
this.
and he's just like doing.
Why isn't he in the NBA? Why isn't he playing ball?
I wish I knew.
Why isn't he playing ball for the Sixers?
He just wants to drive his truck, dude. So they escape from there. Egg just like drops a statue on him on lightning and kills him. Again, survived gunfire, but a statue is taking him out.
It's not. It's like just a pretty.
It's just a statue,
substantial statue. It just crushes him. Yeah.
Yeah. And Egg's just like, oh, let me try and crush his skull with a statue. I know he's been alive for 5,000 years, but maybe this will do it. And it does the trick. They finally escape. They leave, and they find Jack's truck. They all pile into the truck and basically get out of Lopan's. I don't know what you would call it. His hideout, his lair, his cavern. Whatever. I don't know what the hell they're calling it. So they meet back at Wang's restaurant. They're all celebrating. You know, Wang and Miao Yin are reunited. They're trying to get married. They're going to get married. Out of nowhere, Eddie, Wang's friend, and Margot, Gracie's friend, she's just like, how about you come back to my place? And you're like, all right.
Oh, because they're gonna make a title for the article.
Yeah, because they're reporters, and they're basically like trying to document. A big plot was like they were trying to get the scoop on Lopan the whole time, and they got more than what they bargained for. So dumb. And then Egg is basically like just fucks off, and he's like, where are you going? And he's like, my work's done. Like, Lopan's dead. I'm just gonna go travel. And that's just like, Jack has a really good line. He's like, why don't you go see China? Go visit the motherland. And he's like, China's in the heart. Follows me wherever I go. And I was like, God damn it, Egg, you're so cool. Gracie offers to join Jack, and is like, oh, like, I'd love some company. You find out that they actually, like, there's a scene earlier that we wildly glossed over during the fighting. So right before they meet Lopan, they make out. There's like kind of this like tension between the two the whole movie, and they finally end up hooking up, which then Jack has like red lipstick all over his face.
Oh my god!
Which is
for
awesome.
A whole scene. He just has the lipstick on when he has to go. Oh, it's when he goes to fight Lopan.
Yeah, it's when he goes to fight Lopan.
He has the lipstick on. Oh my god, so dude!
It's just awesome. And he leaves by himself. And the last scene is he's in the truck back in the Pork Chop Express, talking on the CV radio, and he's just rambling to himself. And the last scene, the beast, the fucked up.
What
do we call him?
Harry and the Henderson. Face of the Predator, Chewbacca, fucked up combination.
It's just like on the back of his truck, and it's just like, oh.
He just opens the hatch or whatever,
and it sets it up for like the perfect sequel that never happened.
Thank God, dude. You can't follow that up.
So that was like the weird plot.
Yeah.
Of Big Trouble in Little China. Do you want to talk about any quotes along the way?
So when he's in in the truck. So you always like to do the last line, and
The first line, last line.
the last line destroys me. And he's like, what is it? Hold on. Because they were talking about just remember what old Jack Burton does when the earth quakes and the poison arrows fall from the sky and the pillars of heaven shake. Yeah, Jack Burton just looks at that big old storm right square in the eye, and he says, give me your best shot, pal. I can take it.
And then it's like flash to the beast, man.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the last line.
he has so many, even like the while the credits are still up, one of the lines that killed me was, like I said to my last wife, I never drive faster than I can see, and after that, it's all reflexes. Like, which then...
So that's like one of the opening lines.
That's a theme.
Yeah.
So when you first meet Wang, when they're gambling, he basically like goes double or nothing on a bet, like as the last bet of the night, where he's like, I can break this bottle in half with this knife. Wang slams down the knife, it flies at Jack, and he basically just like snatches it out of the air, and he goes, like Jack always says, or he basically repeats that line. He's like, I never drive faster than I can see. It's all reflexes from here. And he says the same line when he kills Lo Pan after he fumbles the knife throw. He throws it back. Lo Pan wings the knife back at him. Jack grabs it and instantly turns it back, and he goes, it's all reflexes.
So that was a setup, right? He wanted to dramatically do that because he could have just killed him the whole time.
I feel like knowing that character, yeah, he just wanted to dramatically do that.
He took a real big risk there.
Yeah, with his little rinky-dink
He
knife.
doesn't know anything about sorcery.
Not one bit.
Just like, all right, I have a chance to kill him, and I'm going to...
He's like, how cool would this be,
I'm
though,
gonna
if
biff
I
it.
can do a callback to the first line? There's just... So I had a note here, like, while the credits are up, you had enough, like, quotes to fill a whole hour. One of the other ones is, have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir, the check is in the mail. And he's just saying these, like, wild things alone into the CV radio. Like, no one is listening to him. And it's just so good. We forgot to talk about the Meatball Guardian thing.
Dude, so the Meatball Guardian is crazy.
When does that show up?
It's like in the last 15 minutes.
After they break up after they rescue the girls, they're roaming the hallways trying to look for Lo Pan, and they see this like Meatball Guardian. It's like this eye.
Yeah,
thing.
and it can see them. It can see everything that Lo Pan want. Like
It's
Lo
basically
Pan can see
anything-
everything that it sees.
So it's basically just like a fleshy.
Until Jack just shoots it a couple times and it doesn't die. It just races off.
Yeah.
And the other
That scene
there's
is
one more wild
hilarious.
monster that just shows up like a weird, fucked up, low budget haunted house.
Yeah.
Where it's that weird like sea monster thing that just comes out. It literally looks like an animatronic that comes out of a wall.
Yeah.
It just shows up, and it's like huge, and then it just goes.
They
away.
shoot-
You
yeah.
they shoot it and never see it again.
You never see it again. It's unreal. I wanted to talk about, so Jack throughout this whole movie is basically like gets in way over his head instantly with everything. But that knife, the first time you see that is when they're in the funeral procession and all these guys pull out guns and Jack's just sitting in the cab holding the knife.
Just holding it straight up.
Holding the knife straight up.
And then
What are you going to do with
And then
that,
the
dude?
next time that it comes up, who was it? Is either Gracie or Margot says like, "I hope you guys brought a gun." And
Yeah,
he's
he
like,
goes, I got a
"I got
knife.
and he holds it up, and she's just like, "What the?"
She's like, I'd really
Great.
prefer if you would have gotten that knife, by the way, that last one. So for those of you who don't know, I like collecting like weird, I guess like props or like related movie things, like signed memorabilia and stuff like that. The final knife that he throws and kills Lo Pan with, the one that sticks into Lo Pan's head, like that
Yeah.
whole sequence, that knife went up for auction like 2 years ago and sold. So you could own the knife that he whiffs, Lo Pan throws, he catches and domes him with it. Like the screen used knife.
That's
and I
pretty
was like,
sick.
that would be, but
How much did it?
I think it was like a couple thousand is what it sold for. I think that'd be sick. But then if you hadn't seen that movie, you'd be like, who cares?
Yeah, but if you have seen the movie,
You're going to be like, who cares?
no. Okay, I guess you don't give a shit about it.
Rat's patootie.
No, but that is actually really cool.
Yeah. So what else did you want to...
The last sequence is awesome because usually a movie ends where the guy gets the girl, and that happens with both of the other couples or both the other pairs, and then for them, she says, "I'd go with you, but," and Jack just says, "I know there's a problem with your face."
Oh, yeah.
I
She's
was
like,
"What does that mean?" I still don't know what that means.
earlier, she says, I would go in there with you into the brothel. She's like, I would go in there with you, but they know my face. And so he's like, I can't go with you. He goes, yeah, I know. You got a problem with your face.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Every time I've seen it, I'm like,
me.
He's just saying there's something wrong with her face. And then Margot asks, like, aren't you going to kiss her? And he's just, nope.
Nope. Yeah. It's so many. There was, what other lines did I write down that Jack says? He's like all throughout it. Oh, there's a scene. They're like trying to escape after they free the girls from like the prison cell. They're like sneaking through. They basically find a couple weapons. And he's like, all right, I think we have to go. He's like, we're going to go through this door. He's like, 1, 2. It's like, he said, we're going to play follow the leader. 1, 2, 3 through this door. And he opens up the door and there's just like a gang of people just like staring at him. And he closes the door and he's like, I think we're trapped. He's like, or we might be trapped. Which I just thought was really good. Another Jack quote that I had was when he's talking to Lopan at the last scene. He goes, you know what Jack Burton says at a time like this? And Lopan just goes, who? And he goes, Jack Burton, me. And then that's when he whiffs the first knife throw. But yeah, did you have any other quotes that you wanted to talk about? It's just so good.
I just like the opening line.
Yeah.
This is Jack Burton here. This is Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. And I'm just like, the whole time, every time I rewatch, I'm like imagining who else is on there, CB radio getting that. Like,
it's just a lot of like, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah,
like,
dude. I've been out 16 hours doing another 14. Jack Burton's here to keep us going.
Burton in the Pork Chop Express. I love that.
I do also like that gambling sequence that starts at night. You're saying it ends in the morning.
Ends in the morning, yeah.
And they
gamble
bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
Yep.
They're playing.
So that's actually a legit game. The game they're gambling with. It's basically like it's a like
Pal Guy. I think it's called.
You try and guess it's going to be like odd or even, like a number of things. Basically, like there's one person that knows what's going to be in there, and it's just an odd or even, which I thought was like that's kind of cool, but.
They say he's 12 feet tall, he's 10 feet tall,
this is Lopan,
and he's 7 feet tall. Yeah,
it's just so funny. So this is the one point that I wanted to bring up. I think I said it at the beginning, but the thing I like about Jack is that he doesn't know what's going on the whole movie. Like he's all talk basically. Like every time, like you said earlier, he gets his ass whooped in every battle instantly. He's supposed to be like the relatable character. Like if there was Batman and Robin, he is definitely Robin. Like Wang is Batman. And I just thought that was a really cool dynamic. Like everyone thinks it's like, oh yeah, this is, Kurt Russell is like the main character, but I think Wang was the main character.
And he's also wearing that hilarious tank top.
Yeah, it is pretty iconic, like Jack's tank top in this movie. But I also thought it was really cool that
he wore those insane boots that go with it.
Well, that too.
Oh my god! I was trying to figure out they're like lace up like equestrian boots or something.
I wish
they go like all the way up the calf, and they're so funny. it's like what I would imagine Lara Croft would wear or something.
Yeah. I had a fun fact about the green eye thing, like having green eyes. Apparently, I think it was Kim had to wear they were contacts, like green contact lenses, and apparently they were such a pain in the ass to film with that she could only shoot like a couple minutes. Like she couldn't be on screen for a lot because her eyes would like start tearing because the contacts were so uncomfortable.
That's wild.
Yeah, which I was like that. If you see her, she has green eyes, like bright green eyes that are very visible the whole movie.
Yeah,
so that probably sucked to film.
Yeah, every scene she's in, I guess they had to just like dry her eyes.
Yep,
don't
just
cry,
be like,
dry your eyes.
Just don't complain. But what I was gonna say is Dennis Dunn, who plays Wang, I thought it was really cool that like for the era, for a movie to be this big, like to have someone like basically to have someone of Asian descent to be in a main character in a major blockbuster movie like this. I think is like something that he's not given enough credit for. Like, I think I was reading an interview. Apparently he was told to not do this movie too. Cause they were like, people aren't going to want to go see it. Like it's not a traditional, like, a big blockbuster type movie. Like it's, they didn't really know how to market this movie. And he was like, no, I think this is going to be cool. And so I just think that was like I think he kind of paved the way for a lot of like,
yeah,
just in, bringing, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I just think it was cool that given the time frame he was still, or the time period, he was still able to be the lead in the movie. Because Hollywood was at that time was notorious for being, shitty, if we'll call it.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But Victor Wong too. He was. Have you ever seen the Three Ninjas movies?
I don't think I have.
He's
actually.
He's like the Three Ninjas. He's like their like sensei.
Oh, is he?
Oh my god,
that's cool.
Those are honestly probably the first martial arts movies I've seen. I remember my
mom.
I
mean, he's been in like a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah, 92, 94, 95. Three Ninjas kick back, Three Ninjas knuckle up.
He was in Prince of Darkness too.
Yeah, and he's also in.
Oh, he's in Tremors.
Yeah,
he plays Walter in Tremors. Damn, he's actually
a couple people from this movie were also Near the Dragon and then The Last Emperor as well, which is cool.
That is cool. I think that was yeah, that is just neat. We're just like, I'm just looking at like some of the cast right now, trying to see if there's anything else that I wanted to bring up. But I think like we didn't go super in depth. Do you have any other quotes you wanted to tell? There's so like when I'm telling you, this is a never ending quote machine. This whole movie. So
are you familiar with Dumb and Dumber?
Yes.
And the scene and the dream sequence he has in the Chinese restaurant where he fights the dude and rips his heart out and gives him a doggy bag. I don't know why, but I always whenever I see this movie, I always think of that sequence because I feel like they just like completely like it's not the same sequence, but
but you think Dumb and Dumber like
it just reminds me heavily of it every time.
I thought this was cool, which I think is kind of a nod to like other kung fu type movies. Really, no blood in this movie.
Yeah, there's not.
Which is kind of like I think that's almost like a staple.
Even when the knife goes in the head, it's funny.
Yeah, it's literally just like sticking out, and you're like, uh-oh, and then he dies. But I think that like that was even all the like the old Bruce Lee movies and stuff like that, or even like with like Yojimbo and stuff like that, no blood, which I thought was like, I think that's cool. I think that was just like a nice little homage to the genre.
Yeah,
that like
cool.
Carpenter was trying to.
That is cool. There is also like a lot of like martial arts movies that have like awesome, crazy splatter, blood, gore kind of stuff.
That is true.
But yeah, I would say it's on that side, and I think it's cool because it's like mystical almost.
Oh yeah.
And most of the time I'm like not super into mystical stuff. Like it's just not my usual. I say that, but then I do like mystical stuff. But I don't know.
I think I'm telling you, this movie is like is one of the greats.
So I will say, when I rewatched this the other night for the podcast, Olivia, we always usually get sick bed out and watch a movie at night.
Yeah,
and we just love it. And she's like, "Well, what are we watching tonight?" And we were gonna watch a different martial arts movie. And I was like, "Well, you haven't seen Big Trouble?" And she's like, "It's an action movie, right?" And I was like,
"I don't know."
Yeah, it is, but it's an action movie that you haven't seen before.
Yeah,
and it's not just gonna get muddled up. Like you're not gonna be like, "Oh, 90 minutes, hour 40 of just nonsense, gotta save the girl, blah blah blah, blow up, explosion." I was like it's an action movie with insane plot.
Oh yeah,
martial arts, sorcery, and she's like, "Oh, say less." And
you said she loved it, right?
Yeah, right after thunder explodes.
Yeah,
she's like, "This might be like a top movie for me already."
Yeah,
I mean already it's like 10 minutes left, but she was like way more in than I thought she was gonna be.
Yeah,
like
that's cool though.
Like she was in. I was like, it's not something she would normally watch.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Emily watched a little bit of it when I was watching it, and she was like, "It's gonna be a no for me, dog."
That's what I expected.
Yeah, I think she was just like, I don't have the mental capacity to try and figure out this dog shit.
God, it's so good, and it's almost it's like heating up leftovers. Every time you watch it again, it's better.
It's better. Yeah. So you're heating up that spaghetti for the 19th time.
Not spaghetti though. We talked about that. That's not my kind of meal.
So like I said, I think that was all I had for this one.
Did you watch anything else this week?
I didn't. No.
You didn't?
I've been like so busy.
So was I, but I made time.
Damn.
I'm just kidding, man.
Fake fan. Me. No. Yeah, I'm a fake fan.
Oh, I don't actually.
I wasn't calling you a fake fan.
No, but I don't want you to think I was being serious.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I don't give a shit what you watch.
I don't even like you.
I don't like you.
No, I really haven't. I've been going down like a wild Sopranos.
That's watching something. It doesn't have to be a movie. That's cool.
It's just me being like, "Where's the gabagool?" around the house all the time.
That's cool though. The Sopranos is one of the best things ever happened.
It really is. But
we keep saying we're gonna rewatch it, and we just watch something else instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're gonna do a rewatch soon.
It's a good time.
So how far did you get?
Like what season 2? I'm only on season 2.
If you haven't watched The Sopranos and you're listening to this, you should just probably watch it at some point. Just start watching Ep at Night.
Yeah, Ep at Night.
So, you didn't ask me, but what I watched this week.
No, I don't care.
Okay.
No, what did you watch?
No, actually, I don't give a shit. So we did go see The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh yeah, you said that was a stinker.
It was like, I wish it was worse because then I think I would like it more.
Yeah.
It's so middling.
Yeah. You said it was very just like,
Yeah.
Just kind of
It was just like, it happened. The Dracula scenes were cool.
Mm-hmm.
The kills were cool, inventive.
Yeah.
It was cool. But like, I don't know. There's something about it where it's like, I don't know. I was just waiting for the movie to be over. And then it just ends. And it's like, there's no mystery to it. There's no like we already know the story.
Yeah.
Dracula gets on a boat, comes
That's like
over, becomes a human. And I don't know. I was trying to like think in my head.
You said you were trying to like hype it up a little more.
Even after seeing it, I'm like, oh yeah, it was fine. But then I was like, dude, the movie kind of sucked. But if it was really bad, I would have enjoyed it more because I like really bad movies too.
Yeah.
But it was like somewhere in the middle where I was like, well, at least it was like a $5 movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But then so one thing I did see that is cool was there's this movie called Bad Things. It just came out on Shudder.
Okay.
And it's got like a nod to The Shining kind of going on throughout the whole thing. It's like a fatal 4-way of 4 girls that it's like really confusing. There was like 2 that are dating, but one dated the other one dated the other one, and they're all going to this hotel that the girl is just inheriting from her grandmother. And it's kind of like the Overlook. It's got the vibe of the Overlook Hotel from
from
The
Shining. Yeah.
And then it's just like this really weird, psychological, twisted movie. Huh. And what's her name from Breakfast Club? We just talked about Breakfast Club.
God.
And we were like wondering what she's been doing for the last 30 years, 40 years.
Molly Ringwald.
Molly Ringwald's in it.
Yeah.
She has like a small cast in it.
That's pretty cool.
And it's really twisted and weird. And if you can get past some of the tropes going through it, it's like a little like tongue in cheek sometimes, or like a little bit cringy, just like the comedy, like the jokes, and like you're like, oh, and it's like really just kind of uncomfortable. Yeah. But the payoff is wild.
It's good.
It's pretty wild.
So there you go.
For
folks.
new horror, it's good.
Yeah. So you got to watch and we got to pass.
Watch and a pass for sure.
Score.
And then other than that, I've been watching a lot of trauma movies, which I would say are passes for 90% of humanity.
Yeah. We got to do maybe a bonus on those.
Yeah, maybe we'll just do Toxic Avenger because that's probably the only one that's like...
Pauly P is going to be all over that.
Less despicable than the others. Other ones, like, I don't even want to describe what happens in them.
Yeah, I know some of those are like pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's just not great. But yeah, I would say great ep, Big Trouble, great movie. Trouble? I want to watch it again now, honestly. That's going to be a new just Sunday movie for me, I think. Just
Big Trouble?
It on. Yeah, They Live got added to that list recently
when
I watched that on a Sunday. I'm like, oh, this is the perfect 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Sitting down after a hard day in the yard or something, and you're just throwing They Live on. Now I'm adding this as well. I think it's going to be a Carpenter vibe.
Yeah, I think it is. This was our second John Carpenter movie. All right, let's wrap this one up.
Are we going to wrap it? Are we going to send it?
I think we have to legally. Okay. So if you guys like this one, let us know. Reach out, say howdy. Cool. All right.
Yeah, give us recommendations too. What do you want to hear us actually talk about?
No more of this us picking.
No, we're probably still going to pick, but maybe if you send us something we like or
maybe
don't
we
like.
Won't.
Or maybe something we haven't seen.
Ooh,
spooky.
It doesn't have to be spooky.
But we are going to do some more Friday Night episodes coming up. So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned if you like debaucherous horror.
Great. Anyway, all right, everyone. Until next time.